It's the SKOR North Twins Show.
More breaking news. Back-to-back extra innings Twins episodes here on the SKOR North Twins Show YouTube channel. We had one yesterday for Danny Coulomb. Now we have another one. The Twins have added an outfielder. Here come the dollars. Here come all the big-time contracts from Derek Falvey and the boys. Actually, we still don't know the contract details. I'm working on that to try to confirm what he got. But this is the SKOR North Twins Show, where the Minnesota Twins are now the busiest and hottest team in the offseason over the last 24 hours. Hit the like button and subscribe button for almost daily Twins entertainment. That's the sports dad, Judd Zolgad. My name's Declan Goff. If you're stumbling upon the channel for the first time, the SKOR North Twins Show is a weekly show in the offseason. During the regular season, I cover the home games, maybe some select road games, I don't know, here and there. But give you a little inside access from the Twins, a locker room
Why don't
front.
you just tell the people?
Yeah.
Go get hammered in downtown Cleveland by the Flats.
Hey, I was a good boy that weekend. And there was not many drinks had. I was in good shape. Okay?
Cleveland, underrated.
Yeah, I liked it. Good city.
It's fine. It's got a bad rap.
It does get a bad rap. It's a vibe. There's a certain
It's a good bar town,
look
though.
and vibe to it, but
good.
this is not the Cleveland Guardians Twin Show podcast. This is just the Minnesota Twins show podcast. So the Twins have signed Harrison Bader. They found another outfielder. They found a backup center fielder. I coined this the Byron Buxton insurancy plan, Judd. Buxton, who did reach the 100-game threshold for just the second time in his career this past year, still missed 62 or 55 or so games. So Harrison Bader, they bring in from the Mets. It's a one-year deal. There's a mutual option also for 2026. We'll see what those contract details are. I'm going to guess somewhere. I know Doogie once said he was looking for like a $10 million one-year stop. I'm going to guess that's in half.
Yep.
Without confirming what he is making, I'm going to guess it's somewhere in the $5 million range. There could be some incentives built in there as well. But Harrison Bader gives the Twins some insurance. A little background on Bader. So he is still a pretty solid defender. He won the Gold Glove Award with the St. Louis Cardinals in 2021. Spent 6 years in St. Louis, has bounced around between the Yankees, the Reds. He was with the Mets last season. Hit .236. Not a lot of offense in this guy's game, if I'm being honest. He has an 86 OPS plus over the last 3 seasons, so that is about 14 percentage points lower than your average hitter. However, he's still a very positive defender. StatCast really likes him. Fangraphs likes him. Baseball Savant likes him. His outs above average is still well above the league average, so he can track down a lot of fly balls. But the Twins do add a righty bat. They add an extra outfielder. Harrison Bader, come on down. Bravo to the Twins for making their second off-season addition from the free agent pool.
In 2 days.
In 2 days.
They're going crazy. Like you said, they're going crazy now. So this to me, by the way, I like this. This to me is the Michael A. Taylor move the Twins didn't make last year, right? Which is Buxton, and you know what? It was great. You're right. He played 100-plus games. He got hurt again, but it was certainly an improvement, and he can play center field quite a bit, but he certainly can't play there every day. And I think what we learned was you got to have an insurance plan that's a real plan. Austin Martin is not a plan. It's a, oh my God, go play there. Willie Castro, multifaceted defensive player, fielder, right? But he's not a plan. He's like, oh my God, go play there. So much like when in 2023, when Taylor signed, you look at the numbers, at the plate, but what can guys do? They can go track a ball down, which helps your pitching out. And the reality is, if you get 105 games again from Buxton, you're extremely fortunate. There's a chance he's going to get hurt earlier and miss more time. Like he's Byron Buxton. We don't know. So as far this to me, so you've been talking about this, Dex, and I agree with you. You've been talking about the fact that you think that your takeaway from Rocco this winter, correctly, has been, are you going to get me a first baseman? Like, I need a first baseman. You can't just plug a guy in at first base. So if that was like his main platform, and that still has not been filled, I think the Bader signing was platform 2, which is, what's my insurance policy on Buck? Like, who's going to play, if Bader hits 230, okay, that's great. But the most important thing is you got to have a guy that can go get the ball. And I mean, that is a very difficult position. There's no debating it. So I like this. It's a nice insurance policy. And ultimately, you could be, again, depending on Buck, you could be looking at a guy in Harrison Bader who plays a hell of a lot more than we expect right now, but at least he knows how to play center field if that happens.
Yeah, so last year, they tried to do this with Manuel Margot. Turned out Margot's defense had completely plummeted. I will say this. Yeah. Manuel Margot was a disappointment, for sure. He wasn't a positive player. He did have a role on the team. He slayed left-handed pitching. But his fielding took a huge nosedive, and I think even I don't know if the Twins got damaged goods on that. I don't know if the Twins were aware of that, and they just said, "Screw it, we need someone to hit lefties." They need guys on the right-handed side of the plate. Bader's also a guy that last year did not hit lefties well, but in his career has hit them better than righties. But they needed a right-handed bat. They need Bader to likely spell Buxton in center. I know you texted Mackie and I in the group text saying, where else would he play? It's not like he's just going to play center field.
Sure.
He could maybe move to a corner. He has not spent a lot of time at the corners. He has primarily been almost exclusively, which is a little shocking, a center fielder his entire career. He's 30 years old, turns 31 in June. Now, is this part of the deal where it's like, hey, we're also going to have you play some right field if there's a lefty on the mound and they don't want Wallner or Larnach in the lineup? Probably. We'll see what maybe if we're able to catch up with this guy and get some kind of clarity or answers on what they think of him. But he is someone that doesn't strike out a lot, not a lot of contact, but probably we'll see some time in the corners here and there. And then also, what would probably happen is Bader will get center field time, and Buxton will either get time off or will DH, right? He'll get just time off his feet.
That's what I thought,
to
DH.
a degree. I think you'll probably see maybe more of that plan than necessarily Buxton just resting for the sake of it.
But he's not a great, if 2023 is a true indication, what we learned is that Buck at DH is not great. He really struggled there. To backtrack on Margot, before Margot got hurt, I think he suffered a fairly significant knee injury playing for the Rays a while back. And before that, if I'm not mistaken, he was playing right field and he was pretty good. He hurt the leg and it was never the same. And I don't know if the Twins, because when the Twins acquired him last spring, there definitely was this, okay, he's the backup plan. When Buck's out, he's the backup plan. And it took you how long? 2 games to say, no, he's not. He can barely play left field. He can't move. And so that backfired completely if that was the goal. Now, if the goal was what you're talking about with being able to provide a effective right-handed bat, that's great. This to me, though, makes a lot more sense. Here's a question for you. Mm-hmm. In fact, this would be a fun talker at some point with Phil, too. Reckless speculation on a Wednesday. Is there any way that we start to see, and I'm not saying on a daily basis, but I'm saying that we start to see a plan that has Buck playing some right field? Because I don't like Buxton at DH. Now, Bader, my guess is that Bader plays right, not center. But anyway, I'm just saying if you want to get a guy not off his feet, but a little bit less wear and tear, a corner outfield spot gets you that. I'm throwing it out there as a thought.
I'm going to guess on that front, no. I think they want Buxton to be predominantly a center fielder. He's still a plus fielder.
Yep.
And I would think there'd be more opportunities for Bader to get that chance in right. I know what you're saying. Obviously, it's less texting.
Yeah.
It still keeps him in the field mindset. God, I thought you were going to say put him at first base, and I was like,
no,
where are you going to go here, Judd?
No, I'm going right field. No. I'm not going first base. He's not.
But I think Bader probably gets more of that time, maybe in right. But Buxton's not having any surgery this year, which is a win. It's only the second time that's happened, so he's physically in one of the better spots he's been in. And look, it's been the talk all offseason from the national side of what's going to happen with the Twins. Well, it comes down to their 3 most important players staying healthy, who predominantly have not stayed healthy in Buxton, Correa, and Royce Lewis. So, I would still think he probably DHs and plays center. I don't think they'd put him in the corner. I'm just
throwing it out there. As guys age sometimes, Puckett eventually went to right field. Torrey went to right. Exactly. So I'm just throwing it out there and I'm not trying to imply that it would be some type of 2025 permanent switch. I'm just saying, I wonder, it would be one way to get him less work on or it would be a way to rest his legs a little bit, because the DH thing was just such a flop.
Yeah.
And I just don't know, like, some guys aren't good at it, and that's fine. Some guys need to play. So I guess I'm not thinking of it from a fact that it like drastically improves the Twins. I'm thinking of how do you keep Buxton's bat in the order at times, take the wear and tear off his legs. And now you've got what could be considered at the very least, Dex, a plus center fielder in Bader out there. So it's not like you're sacrificing this, oh my God, he can't get a ball. And now Buck is trying to play, in that case, right field and center. Just a thought.
Yeah. So Bader, defensive runs saved, he regressed last year. This was the only metric that didn't like him. The other fielding metrics, and I am not going to pretend to know how all the sausage is made between outs above average, StatCast, and defensive runs saved. His defensive runs saved took a little bit of a nosedive. He was a -2 defender from a defensive run saved, which is a far cry from the 15 and the 16 and the 15 he put up when he was at his peak of his powers as a center fielder and winning a Gold Glove in St. Louis. But his range and speed are still good, where some of the conflicting analytics and stats say that, no, he's still a positive defender. I don't think this is a Margot situation where he's completely tailed off. However, maybe there is a case to be made of let's move him off from being a 100% center fielder, put him in right or left. And that's also another thing. So he has spent in his career 277 innings in right and just 58 innings in left. So, I mean, if you just do the process of the second best option, he has spent more time in right. I know for a fact they really want a good left fielder defensively. They've had struggles there. They have voiced those to me before. I have heard from Rocco and other officials that and also players. Players have said this too. Playing left field at Target Field is actually a lot harder and more deceptive than it is. And when you go from the minors and you're in these smaller packed stadiums, and then all of a sudden you're in this big, and I know a lot of fans aren't showing up, but still, you're in this big 38,000 seat arena, and there's lights everywhere, and you don't have the downtown skyline. There's a lot of environmental things going on, and it makes tracking balls. And Judd, we saw numerous times last year.
Margot,
oh my God, how
see the ball through those
Margot
stands.
couldn't see it. Austin Martin, who's I think very athletic and could get it down, struggled with it, and he was open about that. So they have looked for a good left fielder. I don't think Bader is the one, and Matt Wallner, who I think is a hell of a lot better athlete than maybe you give him credit for. And when you just kind of look at him, he's actually faster than you think.
Right. Yeah,
he's a solid right fielder. So maybe it is left for Bader. But right now with Kepler leaving, Larnach, Wallner, Bader most likely and Buxton being your primary outfielders, this does also probably make it tougher for Austin Martin to crack the opening day roster. I probably had him in pencil regardless. This is probably going to be now more difficult for him, pending no injuries, to be maybe the last guy on the roster, but also more likely someone that probably starts in St. Paul and is your first kind of shuffleboard up the top. But I am curious where Bader does fit in if he's not playing center every day.
Left field makes some sense, though. So I'm trying to think through here, because the thing about it that's intriguing is Target Field's outfield is actually not simple. Because you're right. Left, you've got the lights and you've got the fans in the stands, which, I mean, Margot struggled beyond belief with that, which shouldn't be that hard. But the right field thing intrigues me because of this. First of all, I agree with you completely. Wallner he's a big lug, but he's got athletic ability, which when you look at Matt, you don't see, but then he plays and you're like, oh, that's pretty good. Like he is way quicker than he looks like he should be. The other thing about right field is, well, one, he's got a cannon for an arm, which I love.
He has a huge arm, yeah.
But I mean, that's great.
One of the best in baseball, yeah.
Yep. So like that is a right fielder's arm. The other thing that makes it intriguing is, well, bat off the ball in right field at Target Field might not be as tough as being in left. I think it's 3 different surfaces in right of the walls make that a challenge. Because there's the cushioned wall, There's the wood thing where it's just the ball just bang, and the limestone where the ball caroms off and basically goes to second base.
Yeah.
And so the outfield there is probably, I mean, it's not the trickiest. It's tricky though. But the more that you talk about that, yeah, I could definitely see if you feel that Bader is just a good enough outfielder, I could see him in left, because if he's played center a ton, which clearly he has, and he's played some right, I'm guessing at 30 he could do it. So it actually might make more sense for your slotted in, at least on a regular basis, potentially, be Bader in left, Buxton in center, Wallner in right. Because I do love that arm. I mean, I love that cannon. Because that's a first to third, bang, you're out.
Yeah, there's a question mark, I think, as in who is your opening day corner outfielders. Like, you have Larnach, Wallner, and now Bader. Now, Larnach and Wallner, if you're facing a right-handed pitcher on opening day, the Twins are scheduled to play St. Louis on opening day, so probably Sonny Gray.
Bader's going to want to go back and play, though, man. He played there for a long time. He's going to say.
So you have Sonny Gray on the mound, so you're probably going to have both lefties in Larnach and Wallner in the lineup. So both those guys will probably play left and right. Larnach dealt with a turf toe issue that really hindered him from standing out in the outfield a lot last year. He played through it and then was IL'd near the end of the year. But I am curious on the mix of that, especially if there's a lefty in, then Bader for sure gets one of those two spots because they're not going to have both Wallner and Larnach against a lefty.
Right.
And Kepler got a lot of benefit of the doubt against lefties, but still never really, outside of 1 year, has hit them predominantly well. So there's a lot of interesting things to figure. A lot of good spring training things to figure out. Good spring training storylines is who has the upper hand on the corner outfield spots.
What do you think the Buxton plan is too?
As in
plays, rests when like they're not going to. I know it frustrates fans, but the reality is they still have to be cautious. So like, what's the plan there? Because I mean, this does the most important thing that this tells me is they probably quickly came to the realization that the Buxton rest plan was thrown off by the fact that, that the guys that they were forced to put in center weren't good. So like, this definitely says to me that they realize the error of their ways. And I guess what I'm curious about is, to your point, does that mean more DHing, which I don't like a lot, flat out days off or starts off? Because this definitely, from a defensive standpoint, fills a void now a little bit more that was never filled in 2024.
By the way, hit the like button, subscribe button. Got a bunch of people watching us right now on the SKOR North Twins Show YouTube channel. Appreciate you guys, whether you're
live?
New, whether you're recurring. Oh, yeah, we've been live.
I didn't wear
live
makeup
the whole time.
Oh, God. Dude, I would have gone and put my makeup on.
Oh, Judd's Stella doing your makeup for you now?
Yeah, she's
Dawn?
good at it. No, Dawn's at work. Are you kidding? If I asked Dawn to put makeup on me, she'd laugh. No, but Stella does, yeah.
Okay. Hit the like button, subscribe button here on the SKOR North Twins Show YouTube channel. Yesterday, you can go find a quick episode on Danny Coulomb, who was signed by the Twins, a former Twin, a lefty specialist that the Twins are now bringing back. Look, he was actually pretty good with Baltimore. He is coming off some bone chip issues. I'm always just fascinated. How the hell do the bone chips just land? Where are they? Where are they? Are they swimming around in there?
Yeah, I think so.
Freaks me out. I mean, the human arm, whether righty or lefty, is not meant to bend back and spin and throw baseballs.
Yeah, it shouldn't pitch
at 90. It's literally softball is actually more
softball's
predominant for the release of a ball than playing an actual throwing a baseball.
Because the torque and stuff, your bones chip.
Plus, my sister just had a reconstructive, she had shoulder surgery, but rotator cuff. Thank you. You know my sister better than me.
You told me, and it sounded like it hurt.
And I'm going to use they showed me the images, of the surgery, of the pre-post. Ooh, I mean, there was just a quarter-size hole in my sister's shoulder. So now, the next pitcher to tear their rotator cuff, I'm going to vibe with you. I'm going to pretend to know what I'm talking about there.
So when is this back?
It's a 2-month recovery.
But is she going to pitch in July? Is she out till next spring training?
Probably. I would say midsummer is probably when you can see her back at full tilt. It's going to be a long time. Going to be a very long time.
She's a bargain, though, so the Twins might sign her.
That's true. And judging by how the rotation shook out last year with injuries, she will be a one phone call away. I think tomorrow on a SKOR North Twins Show, a full show with Mackie Judd and myself here, I promised a bullpen pecking order with the signing of Coulomb. I might scrap that because now that they've had a reliever enter their fold, they have found their kind of depth outfielder. What's the next move? Is there another move now? They have promised, and they've said before, we do moves later in the offseason.
It's at the
Is
corner.
first base next? Who's the next first
I hope
baseman?
it is. I hope we're not serious about this.
Yeah.
Well, here's my... So I actually think that it's two-pronged. I'll tease this.
Okay.
I think there's at least one player that they need to trade to
Yeah.
make the move that they want to make, if not more. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on...
Uh,
Because somebody or somebodies are going out the door.
Yeah, between Castro, Paddock, Vasquez, the kind of more bloated contracts that are tradable assets. One of those three. We report in I think 9 days. Pitchers and catchers report in 9 days. Full squad in about 2 weeks from today.
Yeah.
So I would be pretty surprised if one of those three guys are all at the full squad workout in 2 weeks from now in Fort Myers.
Agreed. And Tyler, I agree, but Alex Bregman is not in the Twins' plans.
No, well, why need Alex Bregman? You got
might be
Royce
the
Lewis
Cubs'
and
plans.
Brooks Lee over there at third base, baby.
That's
You
true.
don't need Alex Bregman.
He might be in the
right?
Cubs' plans. It sounds like the Cubs are going to sign him, maybe.
Appreciate everyone watching this emergency episode. Twins signed Harrison Bader. Hit the like button, subscribe button. We'll have a full Twin show. That's right, 3 episodes in a row. Hasn't happened, I think, since the season was going on last year, and probably in the good days, like July, when the Twins weren't collapsing and bleeping down their leg. Hit the like button. This is the SKOR North Twins Show. Appreciate you guys listening and subscribing.